use your time.
Hi everyone! Welcome to episode 4 of Boss Talk Live. Thanks so much for joining me. Today we have Sue Pellerin. Hi Sue.
Hi everybody.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. This is really cool. Congrats on your Boss Talk.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited. This is the second one this week, so I thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. So why don't you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Who I am? Well, I'm Sue Pellerin, obviously. I own the business of Live Blood for Health. I do nutrition and live blood microscopy, and I work out of High Rise Group on Armstrong, and so I've been here with Karen Rithardovenko for the past couple of years. I used to be with a naturopath way back in the day, but I've been literally doing nutrition and live blood for over 20 years.
20 years, wow. So what got you here? Did you always think that this is the career path that you're going to take?
Of course, I knew since I was 3. No.
No.
Actually, I was actually working for OHIP back in London, and I really loved every job that I had in the corporate world. The only thing is that unfortunately I got really ill, and that got me into a different path. So after 12 years of being fed intravenously and in and out of hospitals, I needed to take a look at what I could be doing to help myself back on track. So that brought me into, some shifting on emotional growth, food growth, and all that stuff. So that's where I went into nutrition. So I took nutrition, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. I added the microscopy, and 20 years later, here I am still doing what I'm doing, what I love doing.
Absolutely. So when you say microscopy, what is that?
It's actually, what I use is dark field microscopy, like dark field microscope. And the only difference between my microscope and the microscope they normally use is that there's a component that makes it a dark field. So we get to see what's actually in the plasma. So it's like for you, if you would take a look outside, you can say, well, I can see the stars during the day. Well, that's not possible because it's too bright. Okay. So when you do a dark field, it gives you the opportunity to see live organisms in the plasma, so the stars at night. So we get to see why sometimes the immune system or the body wants to react if there's some stuff floating in the swimming pool that shouldn't be there.
Right. So originally you got into this for your own benefit, just to find out.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And I know this about you because we've been working in the same building for a while, and but the audience might not know. You went into this for your own benefit too, for your own growth, but what it turned out to be is it helping others throughout the process. So how did you turn something for your own personal growth into something for everybody else?
Yeah, that's just it. When I did nutrition, I actually took my nutrition course to be able to make sure that I could maintain my health, not lose any more body parts that I didn't want to lose.
Right.
And then after that, when people were asking me for help, then I was like, you know what, I'm going to open a health food store. And it snowballed from having a health food store to helping people on a nutritional level, and going like, oh, you can actually create a business with this. It just kind of the steps went on from there of being like, oh yeah, you know what, maybe I should open a business in nutrition and counsel people. And then I ended up closing my health food store and just strictly doing consultations.
And focusing on the live blood.
Yeah.
So you do the live blood and you do the dry blood, correct?
I do the live and the dry. Those are two different components. The live tells us what's pretty much going on inside of the blood, how the quality of the cells, the quality of the white blood cells, what's actually floating in the plasma that could be constricting. And the dry gives us more of where the oxidative stress is. Okay. So oxidative stress tells us pretty much where you're rusting and falling apart. Yeah. So when people say, I have inflammation, it gives me a range of where it is and how long it's been there and how deep-seated it is. So sometimes we can clean up the blood live and you feel great, and then 3 months down the road you're revisiting the same issue. It's because we really didn't get to the core of how deep-seated or rooted it was, but that's something that the dry blood can give us.
Wow. So what is the difference between, going to a clinic or something, getting a blood test versus yours?
I'm so glad you asked that. That's so cool. I'm glad I didn't know the questions before you started.
Yeah.
The thing is that when we go for blood work, it's because, or when we go to the doctors, it's because we have a symptom. There's something, we have a headache, we have a rash, we have cramps, there's something. There's a reason that brings us to the physician. The physician's then going to request either, a blood work, so you can get blood work done. when you go for blood work, there's nobody sitting behind a microscope looking at your blood.
Okay.
So the vials literally go into a machine called a centrifuge, and it actually spits out a piece of paper like CSI. So your doctor gets a piece of paper with data.
Okay.
So that's no different than me counting everybody in Sudbury. Every man, woman, and child, counting the buildings. So it gives me data. So it's very important to have stats. So it's always a baseline. You always need to get blood work done because you need ratios, you need numbers. But the numbers itself is not enough.
Right.
Because it didn't tell me who's nice and who's not nice and which subdivision I can't walk at night. So just as much as it gives me population, it doesn't tell me if everybody is okay, So just because you're sitting here and I can say, hey, let's go for a jog.
It's not.
We do not all have the capacity of being able to do that. And so does the red cells. The red cells, the white blood cells, and all that stuff, they don't have all the same capacity of being able to do the work. And that's what we're able to get. At least when you're visually able to see if the cell is in a target form, in a ruler form, it's in a Cantor form. We're able to see its performance. So it's more, and it's frustrating for the physician, and it's frustrating for the patient. I can't, because I'm looking at myself back in the day when I was sick all the time, and it's like, why am I feeling like this? And you can see that they're going they're looking at the paper, and there's no answer there.
Right.
And they're not going to whip a rabbit out of the hat if there's no little rabbit paws on the piece of paper. It's not there, right? So automatically they chalk it to stress. They chalk it to menopause. They chalk it to anxiety or whatever. And it's frustrating. We go back home with our tail between our legs saying, well, and then we get more stressed because they can't find out, and we get more stressed.
Right.
So yeah, it's very...
I think a lot of people can relate to, trusting your own body. Something is not quite right, but
That's right.
when you go to the doctor, they're telling you you're fine. But that there's more underlying under there, maybe triggering something.
Everybody knows what it is to feel healthy. At one point, if they think back, if they can remember that far, because some have been feeling really off for decades. They don't know what it is to have a good day. But you're right, the body knows when something is not right. And that's because we have a crazy, amazing immune system. The immune system is there to always kind of keep you in balance, create that balance all the time, right? So, and from there, it's going to give you a symptom.
Right.
So, and we're grateful for that, but we sometimes don't like the symptom, whether it gives you a rash, a headache, or cramping, but your body's going to give you a symptom.
Right.
But you can't x-ray a symptom. They can't pick that up because it's not a broken system. It's just an alarm.
That's right. So when a client comes to see you, what is the initial process like? Take me through what a consultation with you would look like.
Well, they first come. I always book about 2 hours, and because that gives us a lot of time to investigate into dialogue. They'll come, they'll sit actually here, and they'll fill out their form. And after they fill out the form, they bring it in, and I don't look at the form, I don't look at the health history, it just kind of goes into the file, because I like to do my own snooping.
Right.
I go through what's to expect, and all I do is I take one little drop of blood, it's like a little diabetic test. And I put it on a slide, and we look at the live and the dry, and yeah, so it goes. And what I see in the microscope, they get to see on a monitor as well.
Right. So you are telling them right there in real time what you see?
Tell them real time what they see. And that's where you get them, but that's where people kind of go like, oh, that's why I have so much pain. Or, oh, that's why I can't sleep. Or, oh, that's why I have acid reflux. Or it's so visible. It's
right.
visible, yeah.
Wow. So talk me through, maybe there's a story, you don't have to mention, get into too much detail, but maybe a story that really confirmed to you that this is what you're meant to do. Was it something someone said?
So many.
I know.
But you know what the thing is that I know that there's so many great success stories, and that's because they've done all the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they say, oh, Sue, you're amazing, no, it's like they're amazing because it's not easy to stay healthy. Not nowadays. There's so many things that we have to watch for and don't do this, don't do that, So it's a lot of hard work to stay healthy. But there's so many that, actually, I think you've heard this one before, is a little boy that came to see me with his single dad. He came to my office because he was put on medication so he can stay and conform to school. And the father never gave him the medication on weekends, March break, summer holidays, that kind of thing, right? Because he said, I felt guilty enough of getting the drugs to begin with that he didn't give it to him when he's not in school. But after 15 to 20 minutes in my office with the child, I was counting my lucky stars that I didn't have any children, because I'm going like, oh my God, this is horrible. I can see why every teacher wants kids on Ritalin. But once you get to see the quality of the cells and the ability of the cells to actually transport hormones, transport the nutrients to vital organs such as the brain and muscle tissue and neuron, this is where it's so evident what these kids require. So once we actually did that protocol and he was back in after 6 weeks, I saw him again coming towards me, and I was like, oh my goodness. But he literally wrapped himself around my waist and he looked at me. He was the cutest little redhead. Looked at me, and the first thing he said was like, the teacher loves me. The teacher, I've got so many friends at school. That is why I do that.
Oh
that's pretty much one of, for the kids' sake, because the kids are the next generation. I'm looking at the kids today and I'm going like, oh my God, that's our future. I'm going, we need to take care of kids.
That's right. So when you talk with your clients and stuff, are you prescribing or are you just suggesting what?
It all depends, because I follow a chart that Europeans follow.
Okay.
And there's a section that the body can do naturally through diet and through lifestyle changes, on which we call on this side of the biological division. So that's why some people actually get results and some people don't with the same protocol.
Okay.
It all depends where you fit on this chart and which systems have crossed that line.
Wow.
So if they've crossed over a certain section, sometimes we can do it homeopathically and we do different things. But if it's structural, I can't fix that, right? I can't fix structural. If you got a pin in your back, like you're better off to see acupuncturist and osteopath and chiropractor, that kind of thing.
Right.
And if sometimes some stuff will show up on reports that kind of red flags me that it's important for them to actually go back to their physician, because I'm not going to go and detox, recommend any supplements or poke the bear or stir up the pot, if you will,
Right.
unless I'm 100% sure. Because there's so many people out there that actually detox, they cleanse, they do all kinds of stuff without knowing the order of things, if they should be doing it, because sometimes you could be causing more problems than anything else. So yeah, no, I'll recommend either to go for a physician, send them to a naturopath, go back to your dog, get an x-ray, get an ultrasound. It all depends what I see.
Okay.
Sometimes some people are easy. It's like, here, eat that, exercise like this, and you'll be fine, right?
Right.
But there's some people that no. Unfortunately, I haven't seen too many of